Hi everyone, today I'm going to make a bridal bouquet using garden greenery. I clipped some Boston fern, good smelling lavender, sweet potato vine. I believe this is a dichondria. I lost the tag to it. I also did some senna geranium, zabrina, variegated hosta leaves, variegated vinca vine, caladium, and then hens and chicks. I start by prepping all my stems. The ones that were too short, I made a hairpin out of a wire and just kind of trapped that stem and then covered my wire with a wax floral tape. You want to make sure all the stems are nice and clean where the bouquet is going to be gathered, where the bride's hands will be touching it. I did the same thing for the potato vine. And then also the hens and chicks. I took a medium gauge floral wire, went up the center, made a hook, brought it back down. The hens and chicks were kind of heavy, so I doubled over that floral wire to make it a little bit more sturdy. And then of course cover the mechanics. And then I also had to do the same for the senna geranium. Now that I got all the stems together, I'm going to start putting together the bouquet. Very important thing to keep in mind is the shape. So I'm going to go with a triangular shape. You also have to keep in mind you want it more domed, but you're still doing a triangular shape. So it gets a little tricky there, especially doing a handheld bouquet, because you don't want to squeeze the stems too tight, but you want to squeeze them enough that the center leaves don't fall flat and kind of into the center. You still want to keep that dome shape. Another thing to keep in mind is the texture of the leaves. The potato vine that I'm using right there did not have a sturdy frame to it, so it kind of flopped over rather than keeping that nice leafy shape. So I had to think I'm going to need something underneath it to support that leaf so you can actually see that color and see that shape. When putting together the bouquet, I didn't do it on film, but I constantly hold the bouquet down and I want to view it as the bride would view it too. Not only does it need to look pretty to everybody who sees it, but you want the bride to be able to look down and see the beauty of the flowers as well. Another thing to keep in mind is the shape of the bouquet. You don't want anything too big, especially on a bride that's really petite, and vice versa. You don't want anything too tiny. If the bridal dress might be bigger or more fluffy, you don't want to make it too tiny where it's going to get lost in the dress. So right now I'm in Michigan, and this time of year flowers are kind of changing into fall, so it's kind of mid-September right now. So I kind of wanted to challenge myself. If I was getting married and needed to do a bouquet on the fly, this would be something that I could make. These are all right from my garden, and it's appropriate for the season. So just wanted to challenge myself, see what I could come up with. And when I first started putting this bouquet together, I actually had to put it down halfway through and let it go and then regroup. Sometimes, especially myself, I hang on to it too tight and then I just kind of lose the shape, lose the style, and there's nothing wrong with starting over. So my main focus is pretty much the hens and chicks. They've got that nice round shape to them, but I also like the colors of the caladium. So I wanted to make that right in my focal there. I really like the color of the Zabrina, that purpley color. I don't think I did it on film, but I ended up working it in closer to the center as well as bringing it throughout the bottom of the bouquet. You really have to, you know, I didn't get a chance to do it on film, but you really have to hold it away from you to kind of get that look, that view, constantly turning the bouquet to make sure you keep that shape. I had to keep pulling up the center because my hands weren't squeezing it tight enough. A lot of fluffing going on. Always want to make sure that the face of the flower is showing, facing out. So I went ahead and tied this portion off with a chenille stem. I did go back through and fluff everything out, kind of reshape it a little bit. Did that off camera because I had to hold it away from me. But that's the view from the bride's view. She would see that. And I wrapped a ribbon around the base of it because you want to cover up your mechanics. You don't want any wires poking through too.